So many of us on the move, on the paths we choose. We worry about things people say and the things we do. But I don't care about nothing that doesn't care about me. I just wanna be happy to be. Come get happy with me. With the sun, or if you're the owl, take on each day as it comes, and remember love is power. When you're on top of the mountain, or looking out on the waves, I hope you drink from the fountain each day, and wash your worries away. We all rise and we all fall. We place our bets, might lose it all. We all rise and we all fall. We place our bets, might lose it all.
All right. Hey, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you may be in this beautiful planet of ours. This is Metaphysical Meetup with Mark live here on the Intuitive Prospector Facebook page and also streaming over on my YouTube channel, Soul Adventures. Hopefully the sound is okay. It was kind of just, I have a podcast coming up. We're doing a pre-recording right after this at noon, so I have to adjust my settings, so give me 1 second here. A lot of times when you're the producer, the host, the editor, let's see, everything looks to be okay. Okay, so let's go back to Zoom. So how are you this morning? If you're joining me, welcome. Good morning to my team of moderators that monitor the page, monitor your comments, just to make sure that we keep the community upbeat, uplifting, encouraging, motivating, inspirational, if you will. And this morning, I'm playing the song. It's called This Is Not the End. I have a sound collection through Meta, which is pre-approved, so there's no trademark or royalties. And I always like to promote any music that I play on any of my shows, whether it's here on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, my podcast, Om Times, Inspired Living. So this is called This Is Not the End by Ruby Amanfu, A-M-A-N-F-U. I hope I'm pronouncing her name right. Ruby Amanfu, and it's called This Is Not the End. And I like that song because it really is not the end. There's a lot going on in our world. a lot of changes, a lot of transformations, a lot of ascensions. But we know in life that that is the only thing consistent is change, right? Change is the only thing that's consistent. And so for this morning's metaphysical meetup with Mark, I wanted to talk about we are the sum of our experiences. And what I mean by that is when we have different perspectives, when we have awakening, when we have awareness, when we move into, I don't know, maybe a higher consciousness, right? And that can come from meditation. That can come from going to, maybe you've gone to some sort of event out in nature, a drumming circle. Maybe you've worked with plant medicine. Maybe you've had just, a change that you no longer like where your pathways are going in life. And so you, through free will and choice, choose to go into a different direction, if you will. And a lot of times, when you move into higher levels of consciousness, you get to see things in a completely different way, right? It's like I equate it to when we go up to space. We get out into space and it's very cold, it's very dark, it's very silent, right? There's just complete silence. And if we're on the International Space Station, we look down at the planet, it looks very amazing, very beautiful, very peaceful. But as we descend down, right, we descend, go through the gravity and go through the atmosphere and fire, and we get down to the planet, it becomes much more noisier. It becomes much more chaotic. We get, 8 billion people on the planet, and there's a lot of drama. There's a lot of ego. There's a lot of chaos. And so a lot of times the ego is impatient because it knows its time is limited here in an incarnated fashion, right? The physical form is to incarnate. And so when you have a higher level of consciousness, when you move up and you ascend, and a lot of times this is going to be based on the sum, think of it like a mathematical numerology term, the sum of everything that you've gone through up until this point, and you're hanging out with me today. So we become the sum of our experiences, right? And, again, the ego is very impatient. We want to get things done. That is all ego-based, and it knows its time is limited, but the spirit is patient, and it knows that its time is eternal. So if I was talking to you right now, as I am live, and thanks for joining me this morning, I guess I didn't introduce myself. My name is Mark Lanehart. I'm the host of this show. I'm also the host of Inspired Living. You can get that podcast, Inspiration and Spiritual, voted best inspirational and spiritual podcast to listen to through FeedSource. You can get us wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. I'm also the host of that show. But as I'm sitting here talking to you, if I was to physically die, hopefully that's not the case. Maybe I hopefully have more time on the planet. I've only been here heading for 53 years already. But if I was to die right here, my physical incarnate density body, because we all have a density to us, a vibration, if you will. My body, you would see my body slump over, fall off to the side. But I, as a spiritual being, I as a decarnate soul, I as, knowing that the soul is eternal and always moves on, and that's based. You could apply religion to it, you could apply spiritual to it, you could apply science to it, you could apply physics to it, because we know the energy that's in our heart. Energy, by the laws of physics as we understand it today, and that's always subject to change in the future because science is always telling us what we know at the time. It's never lying to us, it's just teaching us as we go along. But the energy that's here, the energy that's vibrating in this physical density mass flesh suit, that would actually continue to sit here. I would be sitting here in my higher self etheric spiritual body, looking down at myself that just collapsed on the floor because I've now decarnated and what we would call physical death. But if you've had the journey that I've had, I know that your perspective is not going to be the same as mine. And I'm not trying to tell you that. I'm just saying a lot of times the sum of our experiences dictate how we choose to learn, it dictates how we interact with society, how we interact with others. And my experiences starting, a few decades ago was really triggered by trauma and tragedy, what I call the TNT, the trauma and the tragedy that blew my life up at the age of 27. And that was through severe loss. That was through the loss of both my brothers, murder, cancer, my father-in-law, to multiple sclerosis. Those three events all at the same time was very overwhelming, and I didn't know how to function, right? And then we had to go through murder trials, right? And I'm going to be writing about this in my next book. This is my first book called Between Worlds Reflections. And what I love about this book, again, it's so cool because you can go this way, or you can flip it upside down, it looks like the same thing, or you turn it sideways and it looks like wings, right? So I'm currently writing a lot of my experiences, my memoirs, and my bio. Sorry, I gotta put my ponytail. My hair's getting long. I'm actually for the first time in my life able to put my hair into a ponytail. My wife's not in agreement with it, but that is part of my transformation. But I'm writing about those experiences because it's those experiences that changed me, the alchemy of who I am, the density, the vibration, the energy, even my mindset and my beliefs had to change because I was going through so much trauma, so much grieving, so much, and I didn't know how to function. It was very overwhelming. But I look back at those years as years that really put me on a new pathway based on my free will and choice to understand what death and dying is all about. Is death the end? I started to have messages coming through, both in the physical world, in my dreams, and in my mind. And that, if you've never been introduced to that, some of you are naturally born with these gifts of clairvoyance, of clairsentience, of claircognizance, a sense of knowing here, sense of knowing here, maybe hearing something, maybe seeing something, maybe seeing something. I didn't understand that because I was raised in basic Christianity, scripture of the Bible, and Catholicism, the Catholic religion. And so there was a lot of dogmas, there was a lot of fears, there was a lot of control. I mean, when you think about it, when you are telling little kids stories about burning in hell and a big red devil, which doesn't even match scripture, that's kind of abuse if you think about it, because those are just stories, right? In spirituality, wherever path you're on, wherever you're at in your life, spirituality is you choosing to connect to something bigger, higher, better, more loving than yourself. Your higher self, whatever your belief system is, God, whatever God is for you. I no longer try to tell people what God is because I don't know. I just know that there is a higher connection, a higher density, a higher vibration. I always remind people that heaven isn't a location. Heaven is a vibration. If you start to think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration, you'll start to unlock the secrets of the universe. Because there is no up or down on a round planet. Metaphysically speaking, since this is Metaphysically Meetup with Mark, we can't go up and we can't go down because we're on a round planet going about a big ball of fire in a universe that's mathematically incomprehensible, right? So the reason we think that heaven is up or feel that it's up because when people have had their experiences, whether it's an OBE, which is an out-of-body experience, or an NDE, which is a near-death experience, which I've had both, we have the impression that we are sending up out of our body. So we just automatically assume that heaven is up here. But really, your density has changed, your vibration has changed, and the energy is leaving your body to connect with what is unseen. So really, the spiritual world and those that reside there, your friends, your family, your fur babies, all are always here. Just because we don't see it doesn't mean that it's not there, right? And there's science, that's just not my opinion. There's science that proves that. The microscope, the telescope, the James Webb, the Hubble, that we're introducing. And in our roaring 20s, we will continue through our technology, through our artificial intelligence, through our mathematics, that we will continue to unlock these doors that have been remained ancient and sacred for many cultures, for many people around the globe. They will start to open, and that's going to be amazing, but yet fearful for some, because we are creatures of habit, and when we have changes, we go to that place of fear, we go to that place of what we learn. And in the spiritual pathways, you have to really unlearn a lot of what you've learned, because it's like you're being molded in a new way based on your choice, not what somebody tells you, not what a priest tells you, not what a nun tells you, but your own way. Because I do believe that most people born that incarnate are born with morals and ethics and values and humanity and love and compassion. I'm writing my next article. It's called the KCC model. And I did a divine service yesterday. And in our divine service, we have to do mediumship demonstration. We have to do philosophy. And so the philosophy that I shared with, this was a church over in the UK, through the SNU, and I do a lot of services now. So if you ever want to have me come to one of your services online, or if you're in the Pacific Northwest, I'd love to be in service and do some demonstrations and connect and help people through the path of mediumship. But what I talked about yesterday is a lot of times most of our stress comes from the way that we respond to life. And our response is based on learned behavior, ego, beliefs, religion. But a lot of times that's not the way life really is. It's our response to life, right? And you can see behind me, I have my original Star Wars posters, my 8 lightsabers. They're going, I've got them all mounted now. And you can't see up above here, but I've got Yoda's now mounted above the Empire Strikes Back because I believe in the true force. I believe not just from a Hollywood movie, but the actual, how the movies were written were based off ancient samurai, ancient religious, ancient spiritual context for how we are all connected together, right? We are all bound by, whether you call it the force, whether you call it oxygen, whether you call it community, whatever you want to call it. But again, most of our stress comes from how we respond to life, because that's not really how life is. And what I did is I pulled up some quotes from Mother Teresa, and there's a book about her, and the model that I'm writing about is called the KCC model, and that's kindness, compassion, and caring, or caring and compassion, however you want to do it. But I call it's just a reminder for me to be kind, be caring, be compassionate. And one of the things that I read a lot of books, right? I had, in fact, today's show we're doing a show on the something about the Matrix. I can't remember exactly. The book's in the other room. I have to go get it. And I do apologize. I forgot my phone again for when we do readings. So what I'll do is I'll put some music on, go grab my phone. So if you have a question for me, we're going to get into some readings here in just a second, and I'll get the Zoom link for you and paste that over into the Intuitive Prospector page. So I'll copy the invite link right now while I'm thinking of it. And let's go over to Intuitive Facebook page. And so the quotes, because I was thinking about Mother Teresa. We know her as the Saint of Calcutta, and she was in a place that was just riddled with poverty, despair, disease, and yet every day she found her way to be at peace with that. Now, she wrote a book. I'm going to share that book with you here, Mother. Power of the internet, right? This is all at my fingertips, all the knowledge that I want to have. She wrote a personal memoir, and the memoir is called, you can get this through wherever you get books, wherever you buy audio, or I think it's on audio. But she talked about Come Be My Light, and it was her personal memoirs that she had submitted, and she had worked with a gentleman for years. It was compiled and presented by Brian. He's a medical consultant. Kolda Jekchuk. It's a long name. So, but just type in "Come Be My Light," the private writings of the Saint of Calcutta. And even though this lady is known for her compassion, her caring, in her memoir, she writes about her struggle and during, her service of life to the poor. And she became an icon for compassion. So if you think of compassion, a lot of times you think of Mother Teresa. To all religions, not just the religion that she represented. And, her contributions to the care of the sick, the dying, and thousands of others that nobody else was prepared to look after, she showed up. But in her memoirs that were compiled, from this gentleman, she talks about, and he compiled this for over 20 years, he talks about, brings together letters that she wrote to her spiritual advisor. So she had an advisor, and I hope that, and if you're on your journey, that you have an advisor. I have a couple. I have some great mentors. I have a development group where we can come together as tribe, and people come to me and bounce ideas and questions off me, and I do the same, right? We hold each other up as a community. And she wrote these letters, and it's a moving chronicle of her spiritual journey. So if you want to get perspective, because she was human, so she did feel those pains, and she shared only with her closest confidants, but she was a human being. But she came from a place of compassion, and I always thought about what was the sum of her experiences that led her to be in that arena, right? What are the sum of your experiences, and how are you responding to life? Are you responding based on your learned behavior and your belief systems? Or you're like saying, no, time out, everything that I'm seeing in life is very chaotic, very very just ignorant and low vibration. And maybe you're in a path, and maybe you're in a new territory where you want to ascend. You want to get to that higher self. You want to connect with your spirit guides. You want to connect with your angels. You want to connect what we call the ascended masters or the inspirers, and have these connections. And how do you do that? For me, like I said, a couple of decades ago, when all of this was happening, I had really no idea how to move forward. I was stuck. I was rock bottom. I was hurting. I had to go to the hospital because they thought I was having a heart attack based on the stress. And through the journey of self-care, the journey of prospecting, the diamond within, and the many gems that are all around us, I started to get counseling, biofeedback, hypnotherapy, grieving counseling. And these keep letting me back to the spiritual path of something higher than ourselves, connecting to my brothers, connecting to my father-in-law. And then before you know it, I was doing readings and people were seeking me out. I'm like, what is going on? How does this even all work? Logically, and I'm very analytical, the left ego brain, and I'm like a spiritual sponge. I soak stuff up. And so I started learning. I started reading. I started going to workshops in the Arthur Findlay College and the Omega Institute and the Berkeley Psychic Institute to understand, am I going crazy, or is there really something scientifically to all of this that's going on, right? And you got to remember, when you start to go down this path, you're going to be faced with ridicule. You're going to be faced with change in relationships, both family and friends and colleagues. You're going to be faced with, people's opinions and judgments. But if you're truly authentic to yourself, you'll move forward, and the right people will align to your tribe, and they will join you on the journey. And but when you move out of that context of that community conditioning that I call it, and there's just certain words that really trigger, when you turn on your television, break the word down, tell a vision, right? We see that a lot in the political arenas right now. Each side is trying to tell its vision through the television based on the program you have turned into, the program that you are receiving information, and what you receive a lot of times come out. So, maybe disconnect from some of that technology, disconnect from some of that social media, disconnect from some of that media, which I try to do. I was very involved with it a couple of years ago, and it really burned me out. It made me sick. It really put me in a place that I'm like, I've got to do something different. And all my platforms now are used for positivity, for growth, for healing, for transformation, for books, for workshops. But just remember, just because you don't see it, that was a thing I really struggled with. There's a lot of things in our life that we do not see but are existing. Gravity. Don't take my word for it. If you want to if I jumped out of my studio right now, I'm 2 stories up in my studio here in West Seattle. If I jump out my window, I am not going to float. Gravity is going to take me down, and I'm going to probably get hurt, right? The signals that you are receiving right now through your Wi-Fi or your cable connection, those are not seen. Those are unseen. There's a lot of photons that are created by the environment, the sun, right? Electricity. You don't see electricity, but I'll tell you what, when you feel it or you get zapped by it, you know it's real, right? Your thoughts. You don't see your thoughts, but you have 50,000 plus thoughts every single day. And I always remind people that thoughts are portals. Thoughts can open you up to higher consciousness. And again, when you have that higher consciousness and your thoughts start to take you in a new way, nothing to be scared about. It's very kind, very loving, very compassionate, the KCC model that I write about, because that's my experiences. And today's topic is the sum of my experiences that I share with you, either through this show, through my writings, through my articles, through my readings, through my podcast, right? And when you start to realize that there's a lot of things out there, from atoms, radio signals, molecules, time is only relevant because we created it, but time has been going on for how many billions of years, right? My biggest thing for me is the wind, because I can look out. It's raining right now. It's August. It should not be raining, but I can look out and I've got this huge tree out, my neighbor's tree, that it houses possums and squirrels and birds and eagles and crows, trash pandas, and I call him Big Zen, right? So I've got little Zen right here. Here's little Zen with the diamond in the tree, right? Because we're always after that diamond. This is my crystal tree. So this is little Zen, my crystal tree, and I got Big Zen. And when I see Big Zen moving in the wind, that reminds me of things that are ongoing that I don't see, because I'm not seeing the wind with my physical eye. I'm not seeing them here. I'm seeing the effects of the wind on the tree as the tree sways back and forth. So again, I started learning that just because, I don't believe in anything I can't see. You'll have those people that will disagree with you from their perspectives, but that's the sum of their experiences, right? And where you're at when you ascend, when your alchemy changes, when your atoms change, when you start to have this awakening, which can be very painful. Sometimes the shaking causes the awakening, and sometimes it's your own free will and choice where you're like, I wanted to discover more. I want to prospect for what Mark's talking about, the diamond within and the many gems that are all around us, connection to nature, this planet itself, plant medicines. There's a lot of things we can connect to that will change your perspective. And again, I always tell you, there's 3 eyes in life: 2 to look, 1 to see. And that's you growing your consciousness, that's you expanding what you're doing. And this becomes, again, the sum of your experiences. And so, again, when you have these higher levels of consciousness, at times this takes courage because you may be introduced to something you've never experienced before. And again, practice a pause, take a breath, get out of your head, and don't let it become fear, right? Fear lowers your vibration. Media loves fear. Ghosts love fear. The negativity loves fear. It's like a sugar high. They get into your auric field and they want to, build off that fear. The way to get out of fear is to stop your thoughts, right? Because thoughts are portals. Take that breath. That's why I have my tattoo here. It's a reminder. Like I can tap my breath, like stop, breathe, and that breath will calm the mind and actually help you have that experience. And it takes courage to do that, right? That's why Joseph Campbell always talked about the cave you fear will hold the treasure you seek. And so higher levels of consciousness allow us to see things from a completely different reality and a completely different perspective, because your vibration, your density, when you're born, your density is very heavy, your vibration is very low. And as you age, we sometimes call this the mid-age crisis is what it's referred to. But a lot of times I think it's just the body, the knowledge, the consciousness, and the brain and the heart saying, no, we know that there's more to life as we get closer to death than we are to birth. And as your density increases, sometimes mine increased to where I was really, really heavy density before my surgery. Today I've lost over 50 pounds from my surgery. So my density has changed, but I believe that's also part of my alchemy and part of my ascension to do this work more. And so as your density change, your vibration change, your frequency change, and your thoughts change, your relationship change, it all changes. But it's a good thing because there is depth, wisdom, knowledge, transformation, healing, awareness, love. And so when Mother Teresa was in the streets of Calcutta, I was reading through some of her book, and I read her book. I read it a couple of years ago on my journey. And she says this, quote, "At the end of life, we will not be judged by how many diplomas we have received, how much money we have made, how many great things we have done. We will be judged by, quote, I was hungry and you gave me something to eat. I was naked and you clothed me. I was homeless and you took me in." And so that's where that kindness, that KCC model that I'm talking about, kindness, compassion, caring, it's not always easy in this world. People can be rude to you, but how are you responding to life? How are you letting life either dictate, or are you dictating to life, right? Because for me, life becomes an acronym. Learn it from experience. Learn it from experience and be okay with failure. First attempt in learning, because everything is about learning, experiencing, growing, changing, going from the caterpillar to the butterfly through the cocoon phase, right? The caterpillar starts off like, this sucks. This is not great. And low vibration, low perspective, goes into the cocoon phase and goes, shit, this really sucks. Oh my God, this is horrible. This is the end of the world. And what the caterpillar calls the end of the world, the butterfly calls a brand new perspective. And then the butterfly goes, I got a brand new perspective. I'm much more beautiful. And it actually wasn't that bad. And I'm kind of thinking about my own journey since April, since I had this life-changing surgery to my spine. Yeah, scary, needed to have it done, but moved with it with a mindfulness that this is happening for me, not to me, not a victim mentality, but this is creating something of that butterfly effect. And plus I'm now back up to 6 feet tall because I literally lost a ½ inch and they put a ½ inch spacer. So I'm literally measured back at 6 feet and I'm down to a weight that I used to be at that I haven't seen in probably 4 or 5 years. So I re-journeyed back to find myself, to know thyself. And that is the spiritual journey of awakening, transformation, and healing. And then Mother Teresa goes on, and I just want to read 3 more quotes, and then we'll get into some readings for you. Let me find them here real quick. Let's see here. I had it here. And it's about what she was talking about was community. I don't want to misquote Mother Teresa. Of course, I scrolled on it. So she says this, and this will give you perspective. This will give you humility. And this is that KCC model I'm talking about: kindness, caring, compassion. I alone cannot change the world. Quote, I alone cannot change the world, but I can at least cast a stone across the waters to create many ripples. And that's really what this show is about. It's about whether you're joining me live or whether you're catching a replay or you catch this 10 years, 20 years, 50 years. This is about casting that stone, that ripple effect, leaving a legacy behind so people can understand the journey of spirituality, the journey of mediumship, the journey of psychic, the journey of intuition, the journey of life, birth, life, death, right? Ram Dass always talks about that this is the womb of our experiences and that death is actually quite a beautiful next step, right? So, but she says, if we have no peace, it is because we have forgotten that we belong to each other. And that goes back to what I was saying about Star Wars, the Force, the connection, the things that binds us all together. Because at the end of the day, if we get down to the root cause of who we truly are, we may look different. We may have short hair, long hair, be bald. We may be skinny, fat. We may be white. We may be dark. We may be brown. We may love one person or another. We may worship one person, worship another. But at the end of the day, the anatomy of who we are, our blood, our bones, our heart, our brain are all the same. And if they're not, then that means that we're not alone in the universe, right? And that's something else that's going to start to really, if you think this conversation is kind of, blowing your mind, wait till we realize that we're not alone in the universe with extra dimensional beings, with the stick people, the star people, the star seeds, there's many references that have gone on for thousands of years. And there's more coming out by the day as our technology increases, as our awareness increases. They're showing themselves to us more. And I call it the drip, 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 to even where our own government now has money, an intelligence committee, documentation, monitoring, which has been going on for at least 70 years in modern times. But, history tells us this goes all the way back to, eons ago, centuries ago. And they can be even represented in paintings from, as far back as the 1200s, 1300s, 1500s. But, another thing that, resonates with me is, if we go back in time, we were a very violent species, even though we're the same. But as Mother Teresa says, we've forgotten that we belong to each other. And that is where we're at. We're in a period where we're very divided, very opinionated through social media, behind a keyboard. But essentially, something's going to bring us back. I call it the Great Coming Together. I don't know if it's based on a nature event, an extraterrestrial event, realizing there's information that we're not alone, whether it's deep down in our oceans, deep down in our earth, or from the universe and have been here the whole time. But that's great coming together is going to make us realize, regardless of where we're at, regardless of what we look like, who we love, or who we worship, that we are the same, that we are connected. And that's when we'll get to peace. But we won't get to peace until then. And if you go back in history, because I'm a big fan of history, if we go back between 500 and 1500 AD, there was about estimated 200 to 500 million people on the planet, right? On the whole entire planet. But yet we were in such a violent society, right? Like you had the Crusades that went out and killed people based on where you lived, what tribe you were in, what you believed. And now we have today, so think about it, 16 times less people today. We have over 8 billion people on the planet. But there was so much violence and so much ignorance and so much control, right? You couldn't even have a book. You couldn't have a mirror. Mirrors were outlawed during the medieval times because they were believed to be portals, right? And we didn't want people thinking for themselves, and people were killed, and there was really no rule of law or justice. But today, with 8 billion people on this planet, somehow we're making it work. Somehow we're living mostly in peace, living in harmony with one another. There are pockets of the world, don't be naive. I know that I'm not. I know that people get murdered every single day through different modalities. My family was a victim of violent crime, so I know murder firsthand. My brother was murdered over marijuana. It's now 20 years later, and marijuana is legal here in most states, right? Cannabis, right? So that's our evolution. That's our consciousness getting better, because there's no way if we had the same mindsets from the 500s to the 1500s with crusades and killing and dogmas, there's no way there could be 8 billion people on the planet today, which is 16 times greater than what it was back then, but yet somehow we're working together. Somehow we come together. And at the end of the day, we can find that we have more in common than we do apart. And I think that's what we're moving through. That's what we're trying to understand through our technology. Our technology, whether it's the internet, and go back to even the phone. Somebody had it before, it's called BC, before computers, before cell phones, before it was funny. I was like, God, I am BC. I am old, right? Because I'm before internet. I'm before cell phones. I'm before I can't remember what the other C was, but it was good. It was really good. Before cell phones, before computers, and there was one more, but I can't think of it. But now, as we work through our technology, the younger generations don't know the difference. They've grown up with technology this entire time, and that's going to be a transformation for them. And that's where our consciousness, again, will start to proceed. But just remember, wherever you're at on your path, remember, you are the sum of all of your experiences. You are choosing how to live the rest of your lives out, because all you have is today, right? The future is never guaranteed to anybody. And that's a good reminder to me, but it's also very reassuring that if everything is dimensional, if everything is portals, death should be no different, right? Just like our thoughts are portals. And like I said, if I passed away right now, my density incarnated physical body would fall to the floor, because that's gravity, right? Gravity's going to take me to the floor. Like I said, we don't see gravity. But what you wouldn't see was me standing still, sitting here, or standing up with my higher self. And a lot of times people ask me, well, what does our spiritual bodies look like? They're very similar in nature. They still have arms and fingers. You don't have the organs because you don't need them in the higher. You don't need breath. You don't need lungs. But your auric self, your etheric self, your higher self is a lot in the same. That's coming through many writings from many different authors that talk about this, going back over 100 years that I've read. So you really are the same, and what you do here also resonates there. So think about how you're responding to life. Think about how all of your experiences, both good and bad and everything in between, is the sum of who you are today. And what do you want to do with the rest of the time you have left is really what I'm trying to say to you. Take the sum of all your experiences, because that's who you are. And what do you want to do with the time you have left? And how do you want to show up to life? How are you responding to life? Are you, again, happening for me or happening to me? So that's all I got for today. Let me go over and say hi to everybody. I'm going to put a link in the Intuitive Prospector page. Again, if you haven't subscribed yet, please jump on and hit that subscribe button. You can also catch my next show over on my YouTube channel. And thank you to all the subscribers. I don't know what happened, but we're well over almost 21,000 spiritual prospectors over on my YouTube channel. There'll be another show over there at noon if you want to catch that, if you want to get on my newsletter. But what I'll do is let me put in the avatar for today with the Zoom link. I'll send some of you some hugs. How's that? Again, I have an avatar, right? This just shows you where we're going. Where this is so sending hugs. The Zoom link is now out there. If you come into the Zoom link, please turn your volume down, come on video so we can have a conversation. If you have a comment or a question, you want to ask me something, feel free to do that. I'm going to jump over on my phone. I'm going to play a song for us real quick. I'm going to go grab my actual phone, and I'll give you that phone number if you want to call in and have a chat or ask me a question, whatever's on your heart, whatever's going through. If today's message resonated with you. So good morning to Cara, good morning, Victoria, Rebecca, hi, Lori, Caroline, good morning to you, Elena, good morning, Wendy, good morning, happy Friday to everybody, Tara, good morning, seeing all of you, some of my subscribers, some of my Patreon prospectors. Again, if you want to learn anything about what I'm doing moving forward, you can go to marklanehart.com or internet search the Intuitive Prospector and get my books, my latest article, book a reading, visit my development group, subscribe to my Diamonds Hub, which is $4.99. And every first Friday of every month, I have connections with that community. Same with my Patreon prospectors. So if you want to hit that subscribe button. So let me cue up some music for you. I'm going to go grab my phone. Get your questions ready. Take that breath, set your intention. If you want to connect via mediumship, if you want me to connect to a loved one, you got to come into the Zoom room because I only do mediumship through a live Zoom interaction because I need your voice. I need your yes. I need your no. I need your I'm not sure. I need your don't remember, right? That's very, very important for the aspects of mediumship live. And then if you have a question, go ahead and type that in. My moderators, if I'm missing something, please let me know. And thank you for being here today and help keeping this community upbeat and inspirational. Hi, Denise. Good morning to you. Ahmet, good morning from Turkey, a country, again, on my bucket list that I long want to visit. I've heard just amazing things about your country. In fact, I believe you have a pool in Turkey that actually have the fish that actually eat the skin, but you can swim in it, right? So I believe that's in Turkey, but definitely want to have some of your coffee too. So thanks for being here, my friend. All right, let me cue up a song for us. And then I will be right back because I'm going to run down. It was in my mind to leave a note, like bring your phone so you can call in as well. So I'm going to just take a break, get ready for readings. Just give me about 2 minutes. Get your questions ready, start loading them in the comments section. And then I'm going to do the ripple effect by Spends Quality because I think there is a ripple effect. And again, I've got a new program coming up here. I think I'm going to launch in September on a different day called Experience the Etheric. So everything that I've talked about today, from a spiritual awakening, from a spiritual of your clairs, your clairvoyance, your clairsentience, your claircognizance, I will be doing an online live called the Experience the Etheric, the spiritual ABCs: awareness, breath, connection, ascension, blending, consciousness, all of the ABCs of spirituality. So I'm trying to get that all together because I've been just dealing with a lot of health issues, rehabilitation, legal issues. I'm now semi-retired, so that has been approved in at least one of them. I've got one more that I'm going through, but that's taken a lot of my time. But as we get into the fall season, which is my favorite time of the year, I'm going to be doing more online stuff and workshops. So go ahead and get your questions ready. I'm going to share my screen. Let's do this one. Shut my camera off, and I'll be right back here in 2 minutes. Enjoy this journey.
Ashes. So I live for my passions, ain't no life passing me by, I'm all about action. We can talk about it later when we feel the effects, cause they were lasting. Putting in the work now, so later we can kick back. I ain't got no 401k, just a click track. Making something out of nothing, and that's something gives back. Residual energy, call that the feedback. Loop it up and make a new arrangement, then bump that to infinity and back to the present, where we put it on wax so we can deliver the message to the people tuning in on the earbuds, or if they hear it on the speakers in the big club. These days it's rare to hear something unique. Copycats copying copycats and sounding weak. I'm here to leave an impression, cause it seems the rap scene is in a depression. It's really that simple. Placid, had to shake it up, change the perception. Laughing instead of crying and complaining, control the emotions. Even when it's raining, the grass is growing, and I'm knowing that it takes hardship to build character. That's why I'm breathing it in, don't need an air filter. Building up resistance, immune to the garbage. Sticking to my heart, that's the life of an artist. Hardest thing I've done is stay true to it. A lot of cats fall off, don't follow through with it. I try to not get lost when I'm looking for myself. The moral compass guides us to find the true north. Stick to the path, I stay on course. Of course I lost my way a couple times to find my voice. Now that I found it, I'ma use it, make some noise. Better yet, some music so our souls can rejoice.
All right. That was called retrograde. That was called Ripple Effect by Spends Quality. So again, this music is all copyright free, trademark free, royalty free. So I always promote the music through my Meta collection that Facebook Meta has already approved. It's called the Sound Collection. So I do have my phone. So let me get over to the Intuitive Prospector page real quick, and I will put in the phone number as well. Like I said, I've been trying to get better at, bring in my phone because some people, let's see, look for another avatar here. Come on. It's funny. Anybody else experiencing technology issues with Mercury retrograde, which ends next Wednesday, the 28th? I've even seen it with my cable. My cable channels have been, and people were talking about it yesterday. Even I was doing a service yesterday over in the UK, and people were talking about their technology being spotty and not being connecting. And a lot of times, it's always easy to blame Mercury retrograde, right, when everything is wonky. But I've seen it for the 8 seasons I've been on radio with Inspired Living. I've seen it every year. Every time there's a Mercury retrograde, we seem to have issues. And last we had to do a rescheduling of a show for this last Wednesday, which was awesome. But the Wednesday before, the soundboard and the JavaScript failed, and we couldn't connect. So I'll put the hello avatar. The number is 206-588-0661. That is the business line for my studio. So look for that hello. There we go. So you can call in, you can hit the Zoom link and come in, or you can post a question or post a comment on the comment section. Hopefully I'm keeping up real time. I grabbed the book that we're doing a podcast today. We're doing a pre-recording. This is her name's Kathleen Bierkens. It's called Your Creator Matrix, and it's how to use optimal wellness and quantum healing to master your story and create your own reality. So a lot of times that's what I was talking about today. It's a beautiful book. I haven't been able to get all the way through it, but there's just a lot of here. Oh, interesting. I was talking about density, and I just opened up the page and it talks about first density. So it's interesting. The first 5 densities about, so I'm sure that we'll talk about this because I was just talking about the 4th density, how we were born, our density is very low. We have a very heavy density, and as we age, the density gets lighter. Your density moves forward, moves up. We call that ascension or awakening or beliefs, whatever you want to call it. But great book. I'm going to be interviewing her in about an hour, so we'll do a few readings here for you. This is your time. This is my way to connect with you, to be in service, to help you prospect for the diamond within and the diamonds that are all around us. So if you have a question, go ahead and load it up. Visit the Zoom link and come into the Zoom, turn your video on, or you can call me at 206-588-0661. If you're calling international, I apologize that you have to dial 44 for the United States, and fees apply based on if you're calling in. So to use Zoom, it's free. You can also call into the Zoom link. But I only just put the actual video link in. So, all right. So if you're ready, I am ready. Let's go prospecting, shall we? For a few minutes. Again, this is your time. And ask away. See if there's something that I can help you with, guide you with, give you a different perspective with. Again, so weird. When I said perspective on my other monitor, that picture popped up. Perspectives. Higher levels of consciousness allow us to see things from a completely different reality. That's, again, it's weird because I said perspectives and all of a sudden it caught my eye and popped up. So again, just because we don't see it doesn't mean it's not here. So what should we be doing reaching to 5 destiny? All right, that's a great question. Let's go to the book. Let's see what she has to say since I opened up to that just by chance or coincidence, right? So she talks about here, and I'll give you my perspective, the 5th density. She talked about in earlier chapters, we looked at how consciousness affects energy. In her book, Unlocking the Ancient Secrets of Healing, the lady Gail Lynn states, physical light behaves like a particle when we place our direct attention on it, and as a wave when we are not being observed. By the time we have entered the 5th density reality, which is a state of being rather than a time or a place, we will be in full command of our creatorship. So that's a great question. Hi, Julie. Amit, that's, what is density, right? Density is very equivalent to dimensional, right? Density is based on our physical matter, our atoms, how we vibrate, trillions and trillions of cells. But in this book that we're going to be talking about here in about an hour on my podcast, and that show will be out, we're pre-recording today, but that podcast specifically, The Creator Matrix with Kathleen Bierkens, she's the author of it, that will be airing September 11th. We have a guest next week, the 28th, end of Mercury retrograde. We have a show the 11th, and then we also have another show for the 25th. So we're already booked out until October for Inspired Living. But the fifth density, we will communicate via our psychic abilities and practice great control over our thought forms. So when you move into that fifth density, Amit, you're really mindfulness. You're really connecting at a different level, right? They always say that cultures that evolve usually will connect via telepathy based on the brain. And the brain shows us that. The brain can actually receive in 12 different dimensional frequencies and signals. Science teaches that. But, if we start to connect here, that's us moving into our fifth dimensional, fifth density construct of higher evolution, higher communications. Because they actually say that this form of communication based off of vocal cord, based off of vibration, this is actually pretty primitive, right? So as we move as a species, I imagine based on our technology will help us get to this point. Because how do you go from this, communicating to this, to communicating to this? How do I as a medium communicate with people that are no physically incarnate in density? How do I communicate with them? Because they don't have a voice to communicate back. So they're communicating to me via my clairvoyance, my clairsentience, my claircognizance, sense of knowing, sense of feeling, a sense of seeing it here in my mind's eye. So in a sense, that's telepathy, and that's me moving past I don't think I'm in my fifth density body by any means. I'm probably somewhere still between my second, third density body. But what she says is, by the time we have entered our fifth density reality, which is a state of being rather than a time or a place. That's interesting to me, because being rather than actually a time or in a physical place, we will be in full command of our creatorship. We will simply know that we can create our reality, and as a result, we will be in greater control of how we react to our outside world. So this is going to be a fun show, and I'm looking forward to interviewing her. And again, it's about, how are you responding to life? Are you creating your own reality? George Lucas talked about this when he first wrote Star Wars. Your focus as a Jedi, it was a Jedi, I think it was Qui-Gon Jinn that talked about this in the prequel series. But your focus determines your reality. So are you focused with these eyes? Or are you focused with this eye? Because everything changes. Like I said, my life this last year has completely done a 360 of what I was doing. I worked 23 years for the federal government. I had to have a surgery. I'm now in a big lawsuit. I'm now semi-retired. I'm now getting money for the rest of my life. And now I'm moved into the full spiritual. But again, I knew this a year ago when I got the download of the message that, Mark, time's going to change for you. You can no longer walk one foot in the very dysfunctional federal government, bureaucracy, filters, silos. You want to talk about ego and backstabbing. No wonder people don't trust the federal government. I did it for 23 years, and the things that I saw and witnessed and was a part of, I'll never go back to. But my message and download was, you can never become who you were truly, authentically meant to be if you're walking in two worlds. And so for me, it was a choice. I'm choosing the spiritual pathway every day of the week and twice on Sunday versus this. But then the fear comes in, the ego comes in. Well, how are you going to survive? How are you going to make money? How are you going to make a living? How are you going to pay your bills? But if you trust and you're dedicated and you're disciplined and you have patience and you have devotion, the spirit world, the universe, your belief systems will deliver that in a way that you're meant to be. And so here I am, right? 50 plus pounds lighter, longer hair, tattooed up, more to come. But okay, so any other questions? This is the time. This is your time. So if you want to interact, thank you, Amit, for that great question, because that's right in line with what we were just talking about, which I think is beautiful. So I'm going over to the Prospector page, see if there's any more comments. Thank you for sharing out the video. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for being on this journey with me, being an intuitive prospector. That's what we all are. We all have intuition. We're all intuitive. We're all curious about our world. So get out there and prospect. My mantra is dare to dream, dare to explore, dare to live, and discover the diamond within. But through that discovery of the diamond within, which is free will and choice, you'll discover there's a lot of great things out here in our world, a lot of amazing things. So, all right, so let's go to the live page, see if there's any questions coming through. Thanks for hanging out with me today. So Amit was the last question. What should we do reach into the fifth density? So again, practice meditation, practice stillness, practice quietness, ask, believe, receive, and perceive the information that you want, Amit, to move, because you just don't get from this to there. It's like going to school. You can't start at kindergarten and jump to your senior year of high school without going through the steps of progression, patience, discipline, dedication. It's no different in the hierarchy of life of trying to get from your first density body to your fifth density body. And what's interesting, even Buddha, I've got my Buddha, it's an air freshener, but I love it because the message is so relevant. You got to let that shit go. But even when Buddha reached enlightenment, people have this concept that when you reach enlightenment, hi, Christina, good to see you, my friend. How are you? When you reach enlightenment, that all of a sudden you're some sort of guru, God, deity type of consciousness, wisdom, knowledge. No, he said, I went back to taking care of my garden, because you find that you're at a peace when education, experiences. Again, today's message is the sum of your experiences are who you are. It's a sum of everything that you've experienced and what you're choosing to do next through free will and choice. But a lot of times our experiences will lead us to learn education. Education may take us to have even deeper experiences that will lead us to a sense of knowledge, right? Those that are very knowledgeable are usually great students of history. Hi, Debbie. Thanks for being here. Hi, Lori. Welcome back. But we go from experiences to education to knowledge. And then it's what do we do with the knowledge? Like, this book is going to be fun to talk about today on today's podcast. It'll air in September. How do we create our matrix? Because are we in a matrix? Are we in a reality? Well, we wouldn't know, right? And the matrix, when I first saw it, it was like, wow, that was very mindful. That was very mind-blowing. That was very interesting. And then a lot of people come out and say, well, Matrix wasn't a movie, it was a documentary. And then you're like, okay, are we, is this the reality? Would I look up and see the sky? Is that just a hologram? Is that, we create our matrix models because we're evolving. But experiences, education, knowledge, use that knowledge then to transfer that into wisdom. And then from that wisdom comes ascension, comes transformation, comes healing. That will lead you to wisdom, or will lead you to enlightenment. And through the enlightenment, you still go back and tend your garden, right? That is the journey of life. And that's what I've realized in my 20 plus years of doing this, of having the different experiences, the relationships, the careers, the events, the people I've mentored and learned under, and it's one day at a time, because the future is never guaranteed. So be in the present moment, practice the pause, practice the breath, ask your questions. Hi, Erika. Hi, Gwendolyn. Christina Lynn says, hey, Mark, I'm glad I was able to catch you live. Yes, my friend, good to see you. I hope you're doing well and in happiness and health. So if you have any other questions, if not, it is just after 11 my time. I have to get ready for my next podcast that we're pre-recording today. And again, we're going to be interviewing this lady who sent me this book called Your Creator Matrix. The book is about how to use optimal wellness and quantum healing to master your story and create your reality. And quantum is interesting. What we're experiencing as a species right now through our technology, because like I said, I did a service yesterday with people all around the world, but we were in one Zoom room. That's quantum. That's digital transformation. That's the digital metaverse. This will continue. AI will play a big part of it. Robotics will play a big part of it. We are connecting, and we're moving from a three-dimensional construct to a fourth dimensional construct, which is filled with love and ascension. And you just don't do it. It just doesn't happen. It takes time, right? You go from the rotary phone to the smartphone, and there's a progression in between. That's where we're moving. It's kind of similar, like if you've ever seen your animal, animals, a lot of animals are very intuitive, but they're in a two-dimensional construct because they don't realize, they don't know themselves, right? To know thyself. I think, therefore I am. Some animals may, I don't want to take that away, but when you see an animal look into a mirror and it doesn't get frightened because it thinks it's another animal and it recognizes itself in the mirror, that it's itself. My cat does this all the time. He's got a lot of vanity. He looks in the mirror and he's like, I'm a very handsome boy. I'm a handsome cat. But what I'm witnessing is watching an animal go from a two-dimensional construct into a three-dimensional construct because he recognizes himself within a mirror, within a reflection, right? If he didn't recognize himself, he would think it was another cat and he would respond accordingly. And so it's really cool to witness things coming in. Like a fish is a two-dimensional construct, right? A fish just knows it's in water, it needs the water to breathe, and just goes about its life, right? So we're witnessing a fourth dimensional quantum for moving into these aspects of reality, and it's quite interesting. So let's see here. Erica, hello. Gwendolyn, Diana, hello to you. Lori says, one day at a time, my favorite. Yeah, because it's off camera here, but I have an altar right here that you can see just to my right. It's got crystals. It's got a big prospector. Maybe one day I'll show you. I've got my mantra literally says life happens. And then below it, today is a new day. You can start fresh, wipe the slate clean, begin again. Today you can embrace kindness, practice compassion, stand up for justice, talk to strangers, ask for help, listen with your whole heart, offer hope, work for the common good, love well, be the change you wish to see in the world. And then over here on my other wall, I've got live, laugh, love up above. So I'm surrounded by my altar, but I also have a card that's sitting in a pine cone that I brought back from, where was that pine cone from? I bring stuff back. I'm a rock hound. I love nature, but in the pine cone, I've got a card because people ask me all the time, Mark, what's my future? It's like the best part about your future is it comes one day at a time. And it was Abraham Lincoln that said that. So it's a reminder that your future is never set in stone. There is a destiny to it, but your free will and choice will always alter the pathways of what you choose to do. But it's a reminder for me that one of the best things about the future is it comes one day at a time. So you're right, Lori, one day at a time. You can plant seeds today for the future you want, but just know that future may never arrive. And think about what you thought your future was going to be. If you had asked me this would be my future even just 5 years ago, I would have said, what are you talking about? That's not at all what I thought I would be doing. But again, it's how you respond to life. And a lot of our stresses are how we respond to life versus how life really is. So Ahmet says, sir, are we getting manipulated by reptilians and deep government, NASA, and more by manipulated information to reach the fifth dimension? Did anybody go to the moon? Is the moon real or a space machine that controlling us? Kind regards. Yeah, Ahmet, lots of great questions. I don't have the answers to that. I can tell you based on my intuition, my experiences, that there are things that are not clearly shared with the American public, with the world. Our Constitution is violated every single day. The government holds back because they don't think we can handle. Even just go back throughout history. It's not even my opinion. You can look at historical structures. For me, one of the amazing coincidences, what Einstein always said, coincidences were God's way of remaining anonymous, is why is the Giza pyramids constructed in a way mathematically that's the same mathematical equation as the speed of light that points to Orion's belt? To me, that's interesting, right? But if you look at historical facts, a lot of you know the Bermuda Triangle, right? I used to go through the Bermuda Triangle all the time in my Coast Guard days. I actually had my first UFO experience with these orbs that moved off the coast of Puerto Rico, which is the tip of the Bermuda Triangle. But people don't realize that there's actually another triangle up in Alaska called the Alaskan Triangle, where over 16,000 people have disappeared mysteriously, right? So Ahmet, I don't know if we're being manipulated. I just know once manipulation stops, rejection usually begins. And I've been rejected a lot based on my own prospecting and my own elevation of consciousness. I do believe that there are many aspects of our ocean that we've yet to discover. There's many aspects in our mountains, even Alaska. There's parts of Alaska that have never been really remote areas that just humans are not, which would give rise to other species, intelligent species, and then deep down on our planet. So there's things that I do believe that are ongoing, but our government, I've always said this, Amit, our government is not going to tell us. Media will report it after it happens, but it's going to be through this technology of crowdsourcing. And I have done forecasting predictions in our Roaring 20s. We would learn that we're not alone in the universe. How that looks like, whether it's little green men, spaceship over the White House, I don't think it's going to be that Hollywood. I think they're starting to reveal themselves to us because they move that defies the laws of gravity and physics and science. And that tells me if they're not interacting with our physics, that means that they're a faster vibration. They have technology that allows them to bend space and time, and they're showing themselves to us. There's more and more events that are happening all around the world being reported by everyday people. So yeah, there could be manipulation. To say that our government's never lied to us, you have to smile at that, right? We all know that to not be true. So that would be a form of manipulation. Reptilians, possibly there's a lot of information, a lot of stories, a lot of conspiracy theories, and that the reptilians, the dinosaurs, think of it this way: the dinosaurs we know exist, right? But the dinosaurs never appeared in scripture. So are they real? Right? If you believe scripture based on where you're at, whether that's Christianity, Hinduism, Judaism, Krishna, Buddhism, everyone has their own writings, but there's really no talk about dinosaurs, but there are fossils. There are scientific proof that these animals existed. So who's to say 1,000 years ago that these beings said humans are just crazy, chaotic species. We don't want anything to do with them. And they go deep into underground. Who knows? I mean, there's even a Simpsons episode, and a lot of you that watch The Simpsons, they've been really interesting on telling the future. But there's an episode where the politicians are talking at a press conference, and all of a sudden they pull their faces off, and they're reptilian people. That's interesting, right? So I don't know the answers. I'm in line with you. I agree with you that there's a lot that has been covered up and not shared with the public because they don't think we can handle it. But in our roaring 20s, that lid's gonna come off. The drip, drip, drip is going to come into our awareness. And awareness is the greatest agent for change. And I don't see it as a end of the world apocalypse. I see it if there's 8 billion people on the planet, and we can live mostly in peace and harmony. It's going to be a few that are in charge of the governments that create, some sort of World War III, but they know that that's a zero-sum game. Nobody wins. So it doesn't make sense. And I feel that we're going to move into what Gene Roddenberry wrote about, that Star Trek moment, to say, hey, welcome to the entire universe of what you don't know, but we'd like to teach you. The stick people, the star people, the extra dimensional, the aliens, whatever you want to call them, the ETs, right? But I think that time is coming, and I'm sure NASA knows all about it, and I'm sure our government knows all about it. So wait, watch, and witness is what I would say on it. Hi, Bernadette. Need to rewatch as I miss my daughter. Thank you. You're welcome, Lori. Yeah, just rewatch. Just, connect that way. Lucetta, hello to you. Emmy, hello to you. And then Canada, we got Sasquatch. Yeah, Sasquatch is a whole nother, a lot of indigenous tribes talk about Sasquatch. There was actually one, I was just reading an article, that there's a tribe in Yakima, in the center of the state, that actually has historical documentations that a Sasquatch actually lived with them, taught them, and when the Sasquatch knew that it was going to move or die, that an alien spacecraft came and picked it up. So why there's no evidence? Maybe you don't find, coyote bones, or you don't find cougar bones a lot of times. You don't find remnants of animals we know exist. But what if they have the ability to be dimensional beings? Or, I got a T-shirt that says, it shows an alien and a Sasquatch, and it says, let's mess with the humans, right? So yeah, Canada has a long history of Sasquatch. Hi, Rosa. Hi, Elizabeth. Hi, Noreen. Hi, Carol. Bernadette, how are you, my friend? Thanks for being here. Thanks for being a subscriber. I appreciate my subscribers. So again, I'll give you 5 more minutes. This is your time. You can call me at 206-588-0661. That is also in the comments. If you want to have a chat on the phone, the Zoom link, just look for my avatars with the Zoom link if you want to come in and have a live chat. I only got about 5 to 10 more minutes because I have to prepare for my podcast at pre-recorded podcast at 12. So again, this is your time. Post a comment. I'm happy to answer, happy to help you prospect and assist. Do I have all the answers? No. I'm on the same lines as Plato. Those that claim to know it all know nothing at all. I'm just sharing my experiences and my education and my knowledge, because that is the sum of my experiences is why I'm talking to you today. So last call. I'll cue up our closing song today. What's a good closing song? Let's go. What's under cinematic? So again, Zoom room is open. Give me a call at 206-588-0661. I did like that song. This is not the end. That was kind of cool. I'll click that. Let's go cinematic. My heart is full. Okay. Burning sand. The chase begins. Rite of passage. Ooh, maybe we'll try this rite of passage as a closing song, because it is a rite of passage, right? What's the next journey? What's the next step? What's the next? How do we get to that 5th dimensional construct that I was talking about? How do we get to that 5th density body? How do we grow? How do we evolve? I always have a saying: once growth stops, decay begins. And I've done a lot of growing this last year, trust me, with major surgery, lots of weight loss, complete career change. And that's, you embrace that. That is how I'm responding to life. So hi, Barbara. Thanks for being here. So again, last call. If you have a question, type it in the comment section. Again, if you do the comment section, remember we work in the quantum. We'll work live. If you want a deck, pick a number 1 through 14. If you want a book reading, if you want my own intuition, just ask and we'll prospect in that way. It's like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get in doing this, but I show up every Friday at 10 a.m. For Metaphysical Meetup with Mark Live. So if no other questions are coming in, I'll cue up the song and I will close us out. Let me get our picture queued up here. I need to close that for Metaphysical Meetup, and then I'm going to put on my headset and we're going to pull the microphone down and we're going to get ready for a live podcast talking today about Your Creator Matrix. Great, beautiful book, lots of knowledge, lots of wisdom. And that show will air September 11th. And you can get Inspired Living wherever you get your favorite podcast from. We're on all the major platforms now. We're also through Alexa. You can say, Alexa, open up Inspired Living podcast, and I will play this last week's show, which was very fun. You can also get us through Audible if you want to listen to us through Audible. Those are our two latest channels. Or go right here at markleinhart.com and you can get my global player for Ohm Times. Okay, so we'll get the picture queued up. Bernadette says, have a wonderful weekend. Can I have a number card this morning? You bet. Happy to do that for you. Hold on. Let me get back to my screen here. So Bernadette, you know how this works as a subscriber. Taking a deep breath. Set your intention. I got the number deck right here. This is the numerology deck. I love numerology. I love mathematics. And when you hear the word stop, as I shuffle, this is us working together at the quantum digital level. When you hear the word stop, Bernadette, type it in the comment section, hit enter, and that's the card we'll talk about. And then Christina, of course, will get you an oracle card, my friend. Hi, Chatel. Good to see you. Am I saying your name right? Chatel? Or Sheetal? Chatel. I'm going to go with Chatel. I apologize if I'm mispronouncing. But welcome. Thanks for being here. Thanks for tuning in. Fridays at 10 a.m., Metaphysical Meetup with Mark. All right, there we go. Stop. Thank you. You got it. We're working on the quantum level. So here you go. Here's your card. 74, which is nature. This is a very cool card. 7 represents truth. 4 represents putting in the work, right? And then 7 plus 4 is 11, right? And so 11 is about being a master number of spiritual teaching and connection. And the best way to do that is to connect with nature. You notice the card is green because that all connects to the power of the heart. Actually, my horoscope today was talking about I need to get more out of nature, and I hope to, now that my surgery is done and I'm rehabilitated, I'm not fully recovered, but I hope to get out and start doing some hikes in my Forest Friday hikes that I used to do. But this is nature. So get out into nature. And I always tell people, for some reason, if you can't get out into nature, bring nature into you, right? I've got plants all around me. I've got a diffuser going. I've got incense going. Use that connection to nature, crystals, rocks. I'm surrounded by nature, right? So get out into nature, take the time to disconnect so you can have the time to reconnect, because that's very, very important. And there's going to be something of a benefit, a self-caring, a self-healing aspect if you connect to nature and breathe in nature, right? Go walk barefoot in the grass, go hug a tree, put yourself into a nice cold stream, right? I've got the Puget Sound right down the street from me, and sometimes I'll just go jump in the sound and do some cold therapy, and work on my breath work, because when you're in 51-degree weather, let me tell you that your body thinks you're dying for the first minute until your breath calms everything down. All right, hi Rosa. Okay, Lori, you're on deck. Christina, Lynn, let me get your oracle deck. I'm gonna put my book down. Otherwise, it's so we'll get the oracle deck for you. Same thing for you. When you hear the word stop, type that into the keyboard and hit enter, and that is the card that we will pick as I shuffle. So Christina Lynn, this is for you, and then hi Yessa, and then Lori, you're on deck. You'll be right after. Tell me, Lori, what deck you want, 1 through 14, and I'll pick that for you. So Christina Lynn, you're up. When I see that word stop come up on the comments, that's a card that I'll pull from the oracle deck for you. And again, this is working live in the quantum arena. Stop. Perfect. Thank you. So here's the oracle deck. Here's the card. Number 6, compassion for self, material and spiritual prosperity. All right, I like this card for you. So some water fountains, some trees, the sun, you looking off a vista, kind of moving into a peaceful time of your life. There's been a lot of ups and downs going on, especially the last few months, but the material and spiritual is really moving you based on what you put in, the seeds you planted, the work you've done. And Christina Lim does beautiful. I don't have one of, she's made me necklaces. I don't have it on today, but she's a beautiful artist and does very beautiful work. So this is your card at 6 energy. Pay attention to the 6 and pay attention to any material or spiritual prosperity. Again, material world is one aspect, but the spiritual may be a new relationship, new knowledge, new experience that expands your consciousness of what I was talking about. So let me know if the cards, let me know if the messages make sense for you, because again, I'm just the messenger. I'm just the delivery guy, if you will. All right. Lori, you want 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. So today's deck you picked, which is one of my English decks, and there's a lot of good information in here. So Lori, take a deep breath. Hi, Joanna Vaughn. I don't know how to say your last name. I apologize. Thanks for being here. Is that Joanna that I worked with last December at the AFC? Is that the same Joanna? Same Joanna on WhatsApp or WhatsApp? I think I see your picture. That looks like you. Good to see you, my friend. How are you? All right. So Lori, you're up, deck 9. When you hear the word stop, type it in, hit enter, and we'll talk about that message. Hi, Tammy. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being here, guys. Appreciate you. Again, every Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I'm here in Seattle, Washington. We try to go live, and then you can catch my YouTube show at noon Pacific Standard Time. That'll be going in about an hour. That's another show that's already uploaded. So, Lori, when you hear the word stop, I give you about 30 seconds. You're welcome, Christina. So, Lori, you're on deck. Stop. Thank you, my friend. All right, beautiful card for you. So, this is called cooperation. So, it's a 20. So the 2 energy from a numerology aspects is being at peace with what is. Being at peace, and there's that heart energy and the sun and all of the sunset. But it says this, cooperation says this. The cooperation movement was formed so that everyone could share in the profits of a trade. This card calls upon you to remember that, sharing and caring to bring about your joy. Now is the time to be supportive of other people, work within a team or group, and share your cooperation projects. Contribute your ability for the good of the whole. Through supporting others, you will find personal worth and gain. It is nigh the time to drive ahead alone, as you may find the progress slow and less fruitful, but a time to let growth take its course and germinate naturally. So that's that card for you, Laura. That's a great card. And again, that's a good reminder. That's why I have my spiritual development group weekly through Zoom with people from all around the United States, Canada, and the UK, because it's a community to come together, to learn, to grow perspectives, to share, to heal, to care for one another. And community is very, very important. So, hi, Kim. Thanks for being here. Bernadette says, the saying, take the time to disconnect so you can reconnect. It is a saying I continue to work on after the first time I heard you say it 3 years ago. Well, thanks, Bernadette. I appreciate that. And again, remember, a lot of my sayings that I come up with are usually downloads from something bigger and more knowledgeable, intelligent than myself. So my words are usually generated through inspiration of a connection to something bigger than myself. And that's one of them. You know, take the time to disconnect so we can make the time to reconnect. Even if you read the comments of this show, you know, my latest saying that I put out there is a new day, a new opportunity, a day we have not seen before to use our intuition to prospect this wonderful world around us, right? And now, you know, this is all just information that's being shared that I've downloaded from inspirational source, my spirit guides, my ascended masters, my inspires, my loved ones on the other side. So I'm glad that that still resonates with you even 3 years later, right? So thank you for sharing that, Bernadette. All right. All right. So last call, last time for readings. Lori says, wow, I need to grow. Been down too long. Love the heart. Thank you. Yeah, one day at a time. One day at a time. Oh, you know, I've got reaction tools too. So this is for you, Lori. Hold on. Here we go. Boom. Boom. Right? And Bernadette, this is for you. Boom. Dimes. I think that comes up on it comes up on my end. Let's see if it comes up on your end. I'm frozen, so maybe it doesn't. So let me know if that actually worked. Oh, shoot. I lost all the comments. So yeah, keep growing, keep knowing, keep learning, keep failing, keep surrendering. Again, today's message is you are the sum. You are the sum of your experiences. If you want to work with me, you know where to find me, Intuitive Prospector, marklanehart.com, and we can prospect into 2025. 2025 is the year of the 9. So we're going to be moving into completion. This is the year of the 8, which is all about journey in, journey out. This is my year, right? The last time we were in an 8 year, I also had a back problem. I broke a vertebrae off, and here we are, same cycle. Now that surgery has repaired all of the damage from my Coast Guard days, my firefighting days. So I'm looking forward to what 2025 has in store for us, because it's about completion. That's the number 9 energy in numerology. So, okay. So were you able to see the hearts and diamonds? I take it from the response, cool and love it. Okay. So I said, I always forget about my reaction. So thanks for hanging out with me. I'm going to put up some coffee cups. So enjoy the coffee, enjoy your Friday. It's Friday, as we like to say, Friday. And I will see you next. I'll see you next Friday for another live show. You can catch my podcast live this Wednesday, and then we have shows going all the way through September. And I just hope that you find your peace, find your journey, and just remember, you are the sum of all of your experiences. So until our next soul adventure together, be kind, be caring, be compassionate. Most importantly, wherever you're at in this world, whatever's going on, I know there's a lot going on, but the world is actually quite a beautiful place. Don't let stress, how you respond to life, have you focus on the negative, focus on the positive. And again, dare to dream, dare to explore, dare to live, and discover that diamond within. I'll see you next time. Cheers.
One planet, 7.3 billion people, only one you. Life offers us many opportunities and learning experiences. Are you ready to explore and discover this beautiful planet, the life and energy all around us, the spiritual world, and what is unseen, along with your own personal soul adventure? Mark Lanehart, the intuitive prospector, is the spiritual connection you have been prospecting for. Internationally known as a tested and professional clairvoyant medium and spiritual advisor, Mark's work as a metaphysical teacher, medical instructor, radio show host, inspirational writer, and hiking guide are here to help you on a journey of self-discovery, healing, inspiration, education, and a whole lot of spiritual awesomeness. Dare to dream, dare to explore, dare to live. For more information on Mark's spiritual practice in Seattle, Washington, please visit marklanehart.com or internet search The Intuitive Prospector.